Rangers, welcome to Super Important Views. My name's Steve, and today we're going over the Figma Kill number 249, Kiryuin Satsuki. What are you doing out of the box?
But I can't take over your collection inside the box.
And why are we doing this?
So we can take over all the collections. So you get a problem with that?
No, not really. I just kind of need you here so that I can at least review you.
But I am the best because I strive to be.
I know that. It's just I gotta show people how beautiful you are.
Well, if you insist.
Sweet. But if you guys haven't seen Kill, we did a review for it on our other channel, The Geek Chest, which you can go check out in the link description below. But mainly picked up this figure just because Arnez and I super love that anime because it is awesome. And we already own the Figma Ryuko Motoi, so wanted to get her so that we could have some sibling rivalry. So without further ado, for the packaging. Overall, this is very nice deep blue with black borders, which overall looks really nice for the packaging. Maybe I would like to have seen like a blue and a white to kind of go along with her armor scheme a little bit better. But for the most part, works really well. Tells you that she's Figma 249. Comes from the anime Kill la Kill. Sculpted by Max Factory. Top of the packaging, you just get her screaming pose with Figma 249. This side of the packaging, really nice profile shot of her on the side here, but nothing too much else different for information wise. And on here, oh man. On the back of the packaging, it just shows her some awesome poses. Shows you what you could do with some of her accessories she comes with. Bunch of stuff I can't understand, and some legal mumbo jumbo. And the bottom of the packaging, which is exactly the same as the top. So let's get into the review. Alright, so now that we got Satsuki opened up out of her cardboard prison, first we're going to go over some of her accessories, starting with her Figma stand, which actually is a great accessory for this action figure because she actually has a very hard time standing up by herself. As you can see in the little spinny section, I actually got her stand up by herself pretty well, but it takes a lot of finessing, and pretty much any kind of nudge whatsoever is going to knock her off the shelf. So I recommend if you guys are going to be having her displayed, definitely be using the Figma stand. Which for the most part is pretty much your pretty basic looking stand, other than it tells you what it is. Figma on the bottom here, nothing too elaborate going on here. Actually, they're pretty nice stands because they actually hold a pose very well. Even come with this added little piece at the end in case you wanted some added articulation. Because for the most part, this is generally how I use the stands. But if you want to have her at like a weird cockeyed angle or want that little added piece to be having her in the air is mainly what this is used for. Then how you attach it to Satsuki is right on the back here under her hair. You'll see that there's a peg hole right there. And you literally just insert the peg of the stand into the back here. It's a bit of a pain in the butt though, because it's a pretty tight squeeze on this for the most part. But once you get it in, it actually stays in there pretty securely and very nicely. And with this little piece right here, again, really helps to get her into more elevated poses if you want her to be doing like jump kicks or something. But for the most part, you're not going to be using this unless you're going to be having her sitting high up, because generally you're going to be using this part of the stand. But on mine, it's really hard to get that in there without the use of a hairdryer, because lining it up, it just keeps pushing her out of there. It's mainly just wiggling into the hole, but that part keeps kind of popping up every time I try to get it in there. But once you manage to, taking this very slow so I don't pop her back out, it does help to keep her upright very well. And generally, again, really recommend using this to keep her in any kind of poses whatsoever, because without it, that's pretty much what you're going to be dealing with. And next we're going to go over her face accessories, which for starters, she comes with, out of the packaging, this more normal stern looking face, a more happy expression looking to the right, and my personal favorite, her pissed off yelling face, which looks like it's ripped straight from the anime. Like, that looks awesome. The sculpt on this face is fantastic. You even see the definition on the inside of the mouth, and it shows off a lot of detail in there. Looks great. And then how you swap out the head sculpts for these is what you're going to want to do is grab at the base of the hair here, because you'll see where the hair is separating from the rest of it. And you pretty much just get your nail in there, pull it apart. Now it reveals the face. Then you just pull off the face here. Pretty easy to do. It's only held in by this little ginormous peg right there. Then you just take your face sculpt that you want to put in, insert it onto the ginormous peg, take your hair, insert it over top, push it in nice, And you're done. And then next we will go over her hand accessories, which she comes with a pair of clenched fists, a pair of open relaxed hands, and then for each hand she comes with a pair of cupping hands, but for her right hand it's more enclosed with the thumb connecting with the rest of the fingers, while on the right hand the thumb is a little bit separated, more if you want to have her like hand over hand holding the swords up. Kinda like so. And then she also comes with a pair of gripping hands, which she gets a couple of sets, which these first sets for her right and left hand are for the Scissor Blade, and how you know this is that her hands are in a more circular shape, just like the handles of the Scissor Blades. And then she also gets 2 more circular gripping hands, which are primarily, to my understanding, would be mainly for like the Executioner Blade, where you have the more open portion of the hand, which you would be using more for the larger bits like here at the handle. And then the smaller area for when you want to be using more closer to the hilt, or also if you just want to be dual wielding the sword. And then finally, just to show you guys the hand by itself, here is her sword hand, which you can tell here because it's rectangular, just like the hilt of the sword here, so that it makes it a little bit easier to hold on to it. Then real briefly, just show you guys how to swap out the hands. It's really, really simple. You literally just grab at the base of the peg joint right here, just pull up on the hand. It's not even really that much of a grip here for the hand anyway, so it doesn't really take much effort to really be doing this. Then you just take the handpiece you want, slide it right back on top, and good to go. And just in case something bad happens to your extra peg in the hands of your Satsuki, they give you an extra one. And then for our first sword accessory we have here is her sword in the sheath, which is kind of funny because she comes with an extra sword that actually is out of the sheath. So it's kind of cool that they come with this added little piece here, because I imagine right here you have the little prongs here for the guard here, which are part of the sword. Trying to get this into the sheath, I imagine it'd be a pain in the butt and be very dangerous, so it's really cool they just ended up giving us this extra little piece. But for some closer look at the details, handle looks really amazing. Love the white wrapping on there. Like the metallic here for the guard and the beginning of the sheath here, and then the sheath has this nice purple wrapping on it, and then the rest of the sheath is this white paint, which looks really good. And then it ends with this metallic little guard here for the end of the sheath, which overall this weapon looks amazing. Like just the amount of detail on this tiny little accessory is just phenomenal. And then we have Satsuki's sword, which overall looks amazing. Love the details on the sword here, where it overall has that very nice gunmetal blade. It looks really nice, really shiny. And then the handle looks awesome as well, bringing it in for a closer look. You can see here where it has this really nice wrapping on the handle here, and then some silver here at the end of the handle. And then for the guard here, where it's this nice metallic silver, and then it has these like little prong things, kind of like a sai for the most part, but overall looks really cool. And then bringing in the sheath real quick, you guys can see here for the wrappings for the handle here, they're slightly different on the two, which is a little bit odd, because you imagine they should both look pretty much the same, since it's the exact same sword. Like this side doesn't look so bad, but just the other side's a little bit off. And if you notice, if I rotate the one with the sheath, you'll notice that the handle, the wrapping on it is actually raised, while on the normal sword, not so much. So there is a difference between the two, but overall, sword still looks amazing and looks like it could definitely do some damage. And then she also comes with her own Scissor Blade, which is this really nice blood red color scheme. Has this really nice red gloss over top. Overall, not a whole lot to go over, just looks like a pair of scissors. Has this nice raised edge over the top part, and it's very flat over the bottom and very smooth blade to it. And the one thing that's kind of cool is this actually is slightly different than the one we got with our Ryuko Matoi, which the handle on here doesn't actually come apart like it does on here on the Ryuko one, which is a big bonus. And then you can actually combine these together to get our Scissor Blade, which grabbing the little peg. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the pegs here, separate them, which might be a bit of a pain because I haven't actually done this yet. There you go. Got that little peg right there and your little red cap right here. And then taking our Scissor Blades and hopefully focusing a bit, you're going to want to line them up right here so that we can connect this piece right through it. Then actually I'll do this from the top. And you just push this through. Make sure that it goes all the way through. Which might be a pain in the butt a bit, but we're going to do it. Because again, I haven't really done this yet, so it's really tight fit. Then close that over top. Then we got our other side right here. You take our little red piece, which this is the only thing that kind of sucks about this, is the way they have it set up to do this is that this little piece is actually stupid easy to lose. So just make sure if you're not going to be keeping the scissor blade combined, you're going to want to keep this thing in the packaging as much as possible. And then next we have her scissor blades fully connected, and they look amazing. Like overall, just very accurate from the TV show. One thing to point out too is opening and closing it. It appears that this part right here is actually popping out a little bit here. So just be a little bit warned of that. Just with the decent amount of play, this might actually pop out. But if it's just staying in position, it actually stays in there very well, very nice. This weapon is overall a very nice addition to our Ryuko Matoi, because I'm not actually going to be having this weapon actually with our Satsuki, but still awesome that she came with the extra blade nonetheless. And then we have here is the Scissor Blade in Decapitation mode, which overall looks awesome. Love the gloss red over top of the blade here. Looks fantastic. And then also you can combine this one just like we can with the normal Scissor Blade. Our Decapitation mode Scissor Blades combined, which overall this looks freaking gnarly. Like this is just a huge accessory to have with our Figma figures. Grabbing my Ryuko Matoi real quick. This thing is freaking huge. Like just the overall scale of this weapon is actually really impressive. And overall, I love the addition of this accessory. And then next, what might possibly be the most important accessory for Satsuki, the Figma Bank. Which what she uses for is for if you don't want to be keeping the package for your Satsuki, you can actually put her name right here in the little display area, and then you can keep all your accessories inside of the bag. And then for her final accessory, here we have a bunch of students in Goku uniforms to have standing behind our Satsuki. Which overall, I actually think this is a really sweet accessory for her to come with. I wish there was a little bit more students to maybe make this a little bit longer, especially if you want to have them kind of standing in the background of these two duking it out. But I still think it's really sweet that she comes with them, just kind of gives it a little bit more display value. But for the most part, it just literally just stands on your shelf because it's literally just a piece of cardboard. Use this to kind of keep itself upright, and then you just kind of adjust accordingly. Which, for the most part, works pretty decently, but I imagine this is kind of just going to be tipping over eventually over time. So it's nothing that's really like super stellar personally, but I still really like the inclusion of this anyways. And then bring her in for a closer look. Head sculpt looks freaking awesome. We already went over the three faces that she comes with, but for the hair, like the details and textures on this are really nice. Very smooth feel to it, where you have a lot of nice details here for the bangs. And then you also have the long strands coming to the front. And then her ginormous ones on the back of her head, which both of these are on their own little articulated joints. Which overall looks really gnarly, very anime looking. And then she also has these little horns right here on the side, which are actually super, super terrifying because these things are really, really thin. And they're probably the thing on this figure I worry the most about breaking, just because her tipping over on anything could possibly snap these, so just be very, very careful with those. But for the most part, the head sculpt looks great overall. And then moving on to her shoulder pads here, because you can see that they're freaking huge. Like, compared to Sengetsu, like, there's not really a whole lot there. Because what these are pretty much are is for these suits, because they're alive, you have, like, here for Sengetsu, you have his eye here, and then his damaged one right over here. While on this one, I think it's Jingetsu, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's with a J. But for his eyes are freaking huge. Have this nice gloss black over it. Looks really nice, really shiny with some pink, orange, and red on the inside here. Looks really good. And then for the little crest right here, it's pretty much this nice white with some blues here on the inside. They even got like his little teeth right here. Also some vents right on the side here. Overall, looks freaking awesome. It's just amazes me though how stupid huge those things are. Then moving on to her body, looks very nice, very sleek. One thing I want to point out though is her boobs are huge. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but they seem a lot bigger than what they did in the anime. Like, I noticed hers were a little bit more voluptuous than Ryuko's right here, but just kind of getting them side by side, which actually it's kind of weird pointing this out, but it looks fitting overall, because I know originally my one, I guess, nitpick was that hers seemed a little bigger, which I'm not complaining. I'm not. But they did seem a little bigger, but now that you got both these figures together, overall, not too bad anymore. She was a little bit of a larger character in comparison to Ryuko. So it makes sense. But the details on this are awesome. Like, you got right here the nice blue lines kind of outlining the part of the sailor suit right here. And then it kind of encloses here in a more of a bra setting. And then you get these straps coming down to her more bikini area, which looks really good. Like, even like the backside with the textures here and stuff looks really nice. You got like the spinal column coming down the back here. Looks really, really cool. And then, yeah, moving on. Then for a skirt, here's one little problem I have with the skirt though, is that it looks great, kind of has this nice frill. It's very reminiscent of kind of like webbing, or looks very aquatic, but it does look really good. One problem is that it's pretty much just pegged in right here, so it pops out pretty easily, especially when you start doing the articulation. So when you're moving her around, you just kind of got to set it back into place, but it's still amusing if you take this thing off and...
Hey!
Huh?
What the hell are you doing?
I was just showing you guys the details. I'm putting it back on. Put it back on. Put it back on. There we go.
Stop that, you pervert!
And I'm not ashamed of it. But moving on, for the rest of her legs, look really nice as well. Overall, it has this very stocking appearance with this very glossy white. Looks great with also these blue lines coming down the center here to give it a little bit of detail. And some high heels, which I imagine would be a nightmare to fight in, but looks really good nonetheless. And then finally for her arms, look very formal. Have this nice gloss white here on the arms with some blues here for some details for the upper part of the cuffs right here. And then where it flares out here at the bottom of the arm. Looks really, really good. And then even right here, I wanted to point out too, is they even detailed the underarm right here, where you have that little bit of the armor here when it's coming around to her front breast right here. Looks awesome. Like, no detail spared on this figure. Because usually, like, on these things, like, you imagine, like, they could go out of their way and not really actually detail these sections. But that's just how good Figma is, you know? And then for our articulation, head can only look up about this far. And that's mainly because the way her hair's set up, when you look under here, this little plastic piece right here kind of gets in the way of her hair right here, so it only flushes down to about that far. And I even tried moving the shoulder pads and stuff, but this is the main hindrance here with her head articulation. So that's about as high as you're going to get it up, but she can look down about that far and still hold her pose. And then she can also turn a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. But it's nothing too crazy because, again, the hair kind of gets in the way. Like, you kind of position a little bit so that it can arc a little bit more. But it takes a lot of finessing to get her to actually rotate her head, because it requires a lot of, like, moving the shoulder pads and whatnot. And it's just a bit of a pain in the butt. And then it kind of gets this weird arced angle. So for the most part, she's going to mainly be looking straight, but if you finagle it enough, you can get it to rotate a little bit. Maybe even rotating this. Nope. Maybe just popping these things out, because that's just the one major complaint of this figure is the head articulation's very, very lacking in regards. But moving on to her arms, which actually has a decent amount of articulation, especially with these giant shoulder pads. I figured they'd be in the way a lot more. But her arm can pretty much move up about that far. And then you can even bring this back to even get an even higher arm lift if you want, which is really nice because these things are on their own separate little hinges, so they can move back and forth. And then you can get them to move up and down a little bit. And even the inside of the part can actually move forward and back too, which is really cool. So you can have it kind of bending forward if you want to have like a more jabbing kind of position or whatnot. Really cool there. Also has a nice rotation here at the upper part of the shoulder. Also has its own little joint right here at the base of the shoulder too. So you get your own little movement section there. And then you also get the peg joint right there. So get even more articulation here at the shoulder, which is really crazy. And then you also get a double joint here at the elbow, which looks really nice. You also have a rotation here at the hand, which has a hard time going all the way around, mainly because of the cuff right here. But you also can bend the hand forward and back. Now, for her waist, another thing I want to point out too is just like the Ryuko Motoi, has a little bit of a problem moving side to side, which it isn't because of the articulation. Like you see here, she does move pretty easily. But the straps right here are glued in right underneath her breast here for the bra section, and hooked right here for the upper part of the legs. So if you move it too far to the side, I would be really worried that this would start snapping. So you can move it a little bit to give her some more dynamic poses, but just be warned that just don't go crazy with it because these things will give. And then she also has a really nice crunch here at the upper part of the abdomen as well. For her legs, can go out about that far. And you can see here the skirts are starting to pop out. Movement about that far. Has a really nice forward kick. Also can move back about yay far. But again, stuff starts popping out when you're doing this. Trying to keep you closed, man. Then for her knees, has a nice bend here as well. Also at the upper part of the thighs, can rotate all the way around. Forgot that one. And then for her feet, can move forward about that far. Back about that far. Also can rotate a little bit side to side. And nothing really as a pivot. And then for the back of her head, her hair right here is also on its own little joint. So it can rotate all the way around if you move the other hair around. And they each can lift up and down as well. So they actually have a really nice range of articulation. It's just kind of moving this stuff to get her to move her head. It's a bit of a chore. Like right there, you can see, got a little bit of head movement. And for some quick comparison, here she is with the Figma Ryukama toy from Kill la Kill. And here she is with some other anime action figures with my Figma Guyver Unit 1 from Guyver the Bio Boosted Armor, and my SH Figure Arts Vegito from Dragon Ball Z. And here she is with two of my more recent reviews with the Revolt Tech Gauss and Gamera from 1967. And here she is with some SH Monstars figures with the Burning Godzilla and Space Godzilla. And here she is with the Playmates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles April O'Neil. Bad. Good. So overall with the Figma Satsuki, I love this action figure. The details on it are amazing. The articulation is really great. Minus the hair, but I don't really see a better way of doing it minus using softer plastic for it, which then you lose a little bit of the detail for that, so it's fine the way it is. And she comes with a stupid amount of accessories. So I gotta say, she's probably one of my favorite anime figures in my collection, if not my favorite as of right now. Especially with her color style being very drastic in comparison to a lot of my other ones, which are primarily in darker shades, while she's pretty much pure white, so she's very eye-catching on yourself and just a very eye-catching figure in general. So if you guys are a big fan of Kill la Kill, and especially if you already own the Ryukama toy by Figma, then you guys definitely need to be adding Satsuki to your collection today. So what do you guys think of Satsuki? Have you guys seen our anime review on the Geek Chest, or is Nudist Beach just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. A little closer pictures are on Facebook, and click the link in the description below. Help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe to become a ranger today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.